ask you to say your full name, please. What's your first name?
Elisa.
I started to notice such a coldness in Elisa.
Because our dad, he forces me and Gabriel to do it.
For 3 years you go to the school?
Yeah, for 3 years, yeah.
And with Gabriel, I started to notice also something deeply, deeply disturbing to me.
They like being mean to me.
Why? Why was it?
And he puts his hand at the top of our heart.
It's all over the internet, isn't it?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shocking, true story of parents and teachers at a British school who were wrongly accused of being part of a satanic paedophile cult.
And my dad made up a really strange religion.
Okay.
And then we kept talking, but he would have like a glaze over his eyes, the eyes that don't see.
I can't remember how, but I found out that the police were looking for me. Why didn't social services get in touch with me?
You think you'll pass the test?
Let's see, let's take it.
What did the police say to you that you'd been accused of?
You laugh, it's all over the net, isn't it?
She was speaking 110% truth.
It said, I'm the leader of a satanic sex cult.
We'll just have a couple of minutes. You just wait here for us, is that alright?
Gabriel was telling me that the whole school's in on it.
Yes, the whole school is.
Oh my God.
I don't want to be a killer anymore.
Hampstead, London. It's known for its historic architecture, its sprawling heath, and some of the most expensive real estates in the world. It is one of the last places you would expect to find the epicenter of a story so dark it would eventually travel across oceans and fuel years of legal warfare.
And we would like to get to the bottom of all this, really.
But what do you do when you end up in the middle of this epicenter? What would you do when your kids are showing you strange behavior? And how do you respond when they tell you about the unimaginable reason behind it? But then also, what would you do if you were the one being accused of doing the most heinous crimes? Would you flee? Act as if nothing ever happened? And what would you say if you were one of the kids enduring all this? Would you tell the police what had happened even though you've been threatened not to? Or would you fumble and turn your story around because of fear? In the Hampstead case, the truth didn't just get buried, it was systematically dismantled. Medical reports haven't been investigated properly and aren't mentioned in any document. There hasn't been any court hearing against either the father or the individuals mentioned by the children working at the school, and detailed descriptions of which only insiders would know about were swept under the rug. Their story became public when somebody leaked a few interrogations done by the Metropolitan Police Office, a few of which are still circulating online. This is the story of Lisa and Gabriel Dearman. In 2015, I stumbled upon a video of two children being interrogated by the Metropolitan Police Office in London with the title Satanic Ritual Abuse Hampstead Exposed.
I'm 9 years old right now.
Yeah.
In it, I saw a girl named Elisa talking openly about a secret cult operating out of the Christchurch Primary School, which is one of the few public schools in Hampstead. She claimed that the school was part of a satanic organization run by her father. Listening to Elisa talk about what had happened to her and her brother Gabriel felt nothing like your typical police interview. It was a glimpse into a raw, unfiltered testimony.
All the Hampstead schools do it.
To this day, I still remember the chilling specificity in their voices. The way they described locations and people with a detail that felt too consistent for children their age to invent. How they spoke in a matter-of-fact tone about secret rooms and corridors that shouldn't have existed. The more she kept talking, the more unsettling it got.
To us, he kills babies there.
She even went on by saying that the organization not only included her own father, but also the teachers at her school and some local religious leaders.
In our school, she injects the child or baby.
It wasn't necessarily the people, places or rooms she was talking about, but it were the physical details in her statement which the police and press never mentioned, even though they could have easily been investigated. For example, They told about birthmarks and tattoos on adults, on intimate places which children simply can't make up out of thin
Maybe
air.
hang it upside down.
She talked about a samurai sword and how you can hang somebody upside down with using nothing more than a rope. She talked about how she nearly decapitated a baby with the help of her father just so they could quote-unquote spill the blood of the baby in a wide bowl on the floor.
On the wall, because there's this little...
The cars, the streets, everything was brought up. Yet the video, as far as I remember, didn't even gain more than 10,000 views. And so I start digging, first on YouTube. I find a couple locals picking up on the matter, one of which got to the school himself, filmed it and put it on YouTube.
It's all over the internet, isn't
The
it?
video displayed a strange interaction between the one filming and some of the staff members of the school.
200 kids, isn't there?
But then I kept looking further, but couldn't find anything about the school's rebuttal. There were no statements made of the school denying the claims of the children. There was no transparent investigation into the facility and no televised press conference to clear the names of the accused.
It was 2014.
But besides one interview, not even a year later, the BBC decided to release a video in where they interviewed Ricky Dearman, the father in question, who turned out to be an aspiring Hollywood actor, saying that he was innocent and cooperative with social services such as Kafka's.
Hi, my name is Ella Gareeva.
Then there's the mother, Ella Gareeva, who initially brought the issue to the police. She fled the country. To the media, it looked like an admission of guilt, the flight of a woman who had successfully coached her children into a frenzy. She eventually lost custody and with her new partner resided somewhere near Morocco. And then it is silent. Years pass by, before I get reminded by the case again. All of a sudden, I stumble upon an eBay Business Awards video from 2017. To my surprise, in the video, both children are reunited with their father again. And that's not all. Throughout the years, the school got rated outstanding by the Camden Council. I read news articles claiming the mother made up the hoax so she could win a legal custody battle. The prevailing theory, supported by the High Court, stated that the allegations were used as a tactical weapon against the father. But what most people seem to forget is that 2017 video remains the last public trace of Elisa and Gabriel Dearman ever since. Their first interrogation happened on the 5th of September 2014. Due to its shocking nature, the video was quickly put offline because of YouTube guideline rules, and the account has since been deleted. In part 3 of this series titled The Interviews, we will have an in-depth look at the hours of raw footage of those interrogations. We will analyze the children's specific body language, their consistent descriptions of the school's layout, and the chilling details of the insider identifiers they provided, details that remain the most haunting yet crucial part of the case. For this introduction video though, I want to focus more on the why. Because even to this day, we think we have new updates related to the case.
There was something not quite right there.
A few years prior, I came across a video of an interview Ella Gareeva did on a small YouTube channel called the Sandstorm Podcast.
Not quite sure what it was.
In her interview, Ella paints a picture of a slow, terrifying realization that began years before the police were even involved. She became more open about the relationship between her and Ricky Dearman, and starts describing how the first signs were noticed when the kids were only toddlers. She talks about behavioral changes and physical anomalies that she claims were the first red flags of abuse. But the most pivotal moment in her narrative involves a couple of names rarely mentioned in the mainstream hoax coverage. The first, Jean-Clément Yahiro. Apparently, Jean-Clément was a sergeant who was one of the first to interview both children. With that, Ella claims that they were first interrogated in a late-night session that lasted nearly 3 hours. Although it was not a standard forensic interview, just like at the Metropolitan Police Office, the interrogation was recorded, but later on quickly concealed. Not much later on, I found out that Jean-Clément is actually the brother-in-law of Abraham Christie, the new partner of Ella Gareeva. Because of this fact, the court would later point to this specific night as the moment the story was born, suggesting that the children were coached and pressured into their testimonies during this unofficial meeting.
Diagnostic Institute. But there is something important I was going to mention.
In the same interview, Ella Gareeva stated that she also was in possession of medical evidence. In another video where she spoke about the matter, she showed medical reports that were done by somebody called Dr. Matthew Hoax, which summarizes that there are physical signs that are consistent with the allegations given by both children. So why wasn't this brought up in the investigation, when in fact Dr. Matthew Hoax is a highly respected adolescent psychiatrist? And then the rabbit hole goes even further, when I shift my point of attention to the father in question, Ricky Dearman. His part of the story almost seems like a perceptive dissonance. It's the gap between the allegations made against him and the perfect life he portrays to have on social media. The aspiring actor with a footprint in both London and Los Angeles, Dearman's career never quite reached the height of Hollywood success. He seems to appear in a couple of low-budget films, including one short movie called One Bullet. Directed by Christopher Krueger and released in 2017, Ricky Dearman starred as the protagonist in the film. However, the film never gained widespread attention and quickly went unnoticed. A few years later, I stumbled upon his personal YouTube channel. To my surprise, it highlights a massive contradiction. For a man who claims to be a protective father, his digital footprint is focused entirely on his own victimhood rather than the well-being of his children. Almost every upload has a detailed description of how he's being falsely accused, without ever mentioning Elisa and Gabriel's growth or recovery. For Ricky, this could have been the easiest way to dismantle all allegations against him. Instead, Ricky starts posting videos of him cuddling elephants at the elephant sanctuary with captions such as "Love all animal people." Following the High Court's ruling, a shroud of anonymity was placed over Elisa and Gabriel, a move intended to protect them. But then there is that eBay Business Awards video from 2017. A video that has since been scrubbed and re-uploaded by third parties shows Ricky, Elisa and Gabriel being celebrated for a business called Wonderful Slime. Around the same time, both kids should have been approximately between the age of 12 and 13 years old. Although the narrative was presented as heartwarming, the business itself didn't make any sense. What stood out the most in the video was how they changed Ricky Dearman's name into Gab Williams, and how the children who were supposedly the founder of the business didn't say a word. And then, what about the school in question? In 2014, Elisa and Gabriel described the school with a terrifying level of detail. Why did nobody forensically search the school? While the Metropolitan Police conducted a walkthrough, there was no radar used to find hollow walls, no forensic kits used to check for biological traces in the areas the children named, and no deep dive into the building's historical blueprints. Instead, throughout the years it seems they have renovated certain parts of the school. They've updated their website and got promoted outstanding by the Camden Council. The church next to the school, which was frequently mentioned by the children, was barely brought up by the mainstream press.
He's teaching me and Gabriel, so when we're older, to do it to our own children and do this kind of stuff to us.
You would think that after 6 years there would be more answers than questions, but the opposite seems to be true. Even though more information seems to be coming to light, the silence around this case is almost deafening. That is, until we fast forward to 2024. All of a sudden I find out that the BBC is planning to make a documentary called the Hampstead pedophile hoax. At first glance, the documentary seemed to be focused mainly on the innocence of the parents involved. There's no mention of Elisa and Gabriel, and no mention of the investigation in general. And then, believe it or not, I somehow got in contact with Ricky Dearman through his YouTube channel. It seems he responds to a few comments I placed under his uploads, in which I invite him to talk. Interestingly though, the first thing he points out is that the people making these allegations are 100% liars and that he will prove his innocence in what he calls the next documentary. He goes on by saying that his daughter Elisa got featured in a BBC Panorama music video segment in where she played the guitar, and that he lost over 24 to 40 million pounds preventing the children from being kidnapped. But still the question lingers, why? Why didn't the headmistress of the school, Katie Forsdyke, speak out? Why did it seem like all the adults involved were desperate to clear out the air without even mentioning the children who initially brought the case to light? When a case like this is ruled a hoax, you would expect the narrative to shift towards the recovery and healing of the children who were allegedly tortured into lying. But in the Hampstead case, the opposite happened. In a typical case of recovered children, there is a path back to normalcy. However, in the Hampstead case, there was a path back to invisibility, it seems. By focusing entirely on clearing the adults, the system sent a message: reputation has priority. And that the children were simply the collateral damage of a hoax that was now officially closed. Until now. Because if the children are able to prove who's innocent, then why haven't we heard them talk since 2014? In this documentary, our goal is to build a timeline and different profiles based on whatever information is available to break open the case for once and for all.